training and support required to engage as active citizens and lead the global movement towards the creation of a peaceful world. With SCI, the group of friends of children affected by armed conflict has been established for undertaking peer-to-peer advocacy for more member states to endorse the Safe Schools Declaration and its implementation. The youth of Africa, ladies and gentlemen, the African Union has made commendable progress in furtherance to the Safe Schools Declaration. One of such is the recent effort by the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, issuing guidance on the protection of children during armed conflicts, calling on countries to either ban the use of schools for military purposes or, at a minimum, enact concrete measures to deter the use of schools for military purposes. Additionally, the AU also requires that countries contributing troops to its peace support operations to ensure that schools are not attacked and used for military purposes. Moreover, the African Union Peace and Security Council has been seized of issues of children in conflict over the years. On separate occasions since 2016, the Council recommended that every Peace and Security Council report to the Summit of AU, Head of State and Government, must contain a section on children in armed conflicts. Such is the high value accorded the issue. Humanitarian responses in Africa are also increasingly incorporating school feeding, which has been instrumental in bringing children back to school in crisis context. To mention some of them, in Niger, we have canteen d'urgence have been set up to minimize the impact of the Boko Haram insurgency. Egypt has also set up school feeding for Syrian refugees. In Eastern DRC, in schools that receive IDPs, returnees, or refugees. And in Sahrawi refugee camps school feeding program. At the African Union Commission, the Education, Science, Technology, Innovation Department continues to work with other AU departments for the integration of protecting education and facilitating the provision of continuous education at all times and under all circumstances in Africa into various sectoral frameworks. You will agree that safe school is indeed a cross-cutting issue that will be best addressed through multi-sectoral collaboration. Safe schools also require appropriate standards for infrastructure and school environments, as well as relevant competence-based curricula and pedagogies, including promoting peace education. We will have to strengthen education management information systems, including data collection, which must include indicators for measuring vulnerability, identification of at-risk schools, students and teachers, and determination of the impact of various interventions. We also need to measure the impact of new interventions, including peace education. The political will must follow these directives. The African Union Commission will continue to work with peace education cluster stakeholders to finalize, publish, and launch the Continental Report on the implementation of the Safe Schools Guidelines, including the implementation of its roadmap, as well as to develop and operationalize a robust reporting mechanism on the implementation of the Safe Schools Guidelines at the AU level. I am pleased that the panel, comprising national technical expertise and experience, will share lessons, good practices, and lessons learned in the implementation of the Safe Schools Declaration across Africa. Dynamic Youth of Africa, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to the outcomes of these debates and consultations and to new partnerships for ensuring that education is protected as a human right and as a key to achieving our desired peace, social, economic development, and shared prosperity in ways that are systemic. Our children and youth are our future, and tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Peace is life. Teachers are key for equipping students with compassion, tolerance, living together in love, and education is our chief hope for building peaceful societies for the Africa we want. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
It's Prudence. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those very wise words. And I think you really covered a wide spectrum around the education sector and the issues around peace. I'd like to hand over to our moderators. Commissioner, I know that you need to leave for your next meeting, so kindly leave at your pleasure. We will make sure that you get the report of this meeting and we have a bilateral conversation around taking all of this further. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
All the best to the youth.
She has muted. Prudence. Oh, sorry again. So thank you so much, Honorable Sarah. Okay, someone's phone is on. Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Honorable Sarah, for that. You know, I always, whenever I listen to you, you are very encouraging. And as much as Cleophas told us that our legal age is not youth, I am definitely sure you're a young person, aren't you, Honorable Sarah? Yeah, you see, the age is just a number, right?
Young person.
Yes, you are 20. Yeah, so age is just a number. So we are all young people here. Just we are not defined by the legal age. We are still young people. And thank you so much for giving yourself for encouraging young people to be able to speak and always coming. You know, one thing I tell guys, if you want someone to speak to into your meeting and event, try Honorable Sarah. She is going to come because it's young people and she is a young person. Thank you so much, because it's the action, as you say, the action is now, not tomorrow. It's action now, because childhood does not wait. Okay, we can't say we are going to wait for this declaration to be passed by countries tomorrow. Children are losing their livelihood, children are losing their education and their learning. And thank you so much for that. I think next I'm going to invite the lovely Miss Sion Nega. Before that, I have my friend here, Alex, who I cut her presentation into half. So she needs to finish that presentation so that she can set up for the next session. So yeah, Alex, go on.
Thank you. Is my mic okay? Okay. So please just give me 5 minutes so I can tell you about the upcoming international conference on the Safe Schools Declaration. So it's happening on the 25th to 27th of October this year. This conference is all about ensuring a safe education for all, moving from commitment to practice. As I was saying, this is what we need to be asking our leaders. You made commitments by endorsing this declaration. What have you put in practice? What have you been able to achieve in terms of ensuring that children are better protected and that their education is safeguarded? So the conference will happen in a hybrid format, which means that there will be in-person participation by the delegates who will be in Nigeria and a virtual participation by international attendees. So a link has already been shared on the GCPA website where you can go and register to participate in the conference. The in-person participation will involve delegates who have a slot in the program who will be speaking, or the delegates and governments that will be announcing their endorsement towards the declaration. And we may have some key notable speakers, of course, like Miss Virginia Gamba, Guterres, and hopefully even Honorable Bankole. I think those will be some of the key notable speakers. So as we've been saying this whole time, that the conference is going to have a particular focus on moving from commitments to practice. So when it brings all these states together to share their good practices and for them to exchange experiences, we are hoping that at the end of this conference that we will be having government delegations putting out statements to reaffirm their commitment in implementing this declaration, but also for them putting forward concrete plans on how they will accelerate implementation of these guidelines. As I've said, we have about 112 states who have endorsed these guidelines globally, but a lot of them have not been able to move to the next step of implementation. They say, yeah, we signed this document, it is with the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Defense, but then that's it. So we need them to put this into practice. The conference will also be an opportunity for stakeholders, for states to galvanize action on protecting education in armed conflict. And it will also be an opportunity for them to take stock of the progress that has been made after the endorsement of these guidelines. And this is where the civil society and other actors like the youth and youth-led organizations, this is where you need to strongly put your voice in terms of holding the government accountable, putting pressure on them that they need to come out and come back with more concrete plans on what they are going to do to accelerate implementation or to ensure that these guidelines are implemented. Either we will say we are coming up with a national plan of action. This national plan of action can have support from the civil society, from the youth and the youth-led organizations in terms of outlining a map, a roadmap on how they are committing to make sure that these guidelines are implemented. And we need to ask them for concrete plans in terms of if we are developing an advocacy plan of action or a national plan of action, what are the commitments that are in this? What are the timelines? Who are accountable? Who are the stakeholders accountable to this? How will this be enforced? In this national plan of action. So we want to encourage great collaboration across borders as well. Conference will be targeting, in the next slide, it will be targeting states, of course, embassies, UN agencies, NGOs, civil society organizations, children and youth, and other participants will be invited at a ministerial and director general level from the ministries of defense, foreign affairs, education, and any other relevant ministries according to the setup of the different governments. So children and young people will participate meaningfully by sharing their views on how attacks have impacted their education and their opportunities to accessing a safe education, as well as providing recommendations to decision makers, particularly in the opening and closing sessions. And that is why we have included in this program or in this workshop, we need to have time for us to deliberate and put together a statement that can be presented during the opening of the session. There'll be, we're organizing a delegation of children to participate in person in the conference. These children will be coming from Borno State in Nigeria. And this global manifesto, we want it to include all the voices of children and youth from the continent as well as the globe that will be presented by these children who will be participating in person. On day one, we will have a CSO side event that is being led by the Nigeria Education in Emergencies Working Group, UNICEF, and Save the Children. Our program has been developed, and we are hoping to also have some keynote speakers, such as keynote speakers from the former Malala Foundation representation, and other delegates, the former president from Liberia, etc. Will be able to also share this signed off and finalized program, perhaps after this call. Then on the second day, there will be a children's side event that will be led by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Save the Children. So we are hoping that before this, we'll have an opportunity also to hold consultations between the children who will be speaking in this side event, as well as the Ministry of Women Affairs, to just deliberate or discuss the importance of having children and youth voices in this conference, to inform the subsequent discussions that will be taking place in the 3-day program. So with that, I will close, and then we can move into the next session for group work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I want to see if I am alone in this call, or me and these two people here. I want to see thumbs up. How far are we? Are we thumbs up, or are we? I want to see reactions on the chat. And thank you so much. The chat is on fire. I'm seeing some conversations, some things that we'll have to include them in the declaration. They are amazing. The fact that we need to move to action. So the next session, I'm going to invite Sion. Sion, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I will start my video.
Sion?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, Jane.
Sion?
Yes,
We can't hear you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, now you're good. Go on, Sion.
Okay, thank you. I'm very happy to hear the voice of young people in the chat box, and also to see her Honorable Excellency Commissioner Sarah to speak on the issue elaborately. And the next presentation that I will do is just a highlight of what AU has done on the protection of education, and also try to discuss some of the work that Save the Children has done in collaboration with the AU on the issue. So is my screen visible? Yeah. Okay, let me make it full screen. So just before starting, I'm sure that a lot of you have been hearing a lot of acronyms, and some of the acronyms might not be familiar. So I'm just giving some definition of acronyms that you have been hearing, and also you will see the acronyms appearing in the presentation that I will do. So just to start with, as you all know, we have the ASWARC, or the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and the Welfare of the Child. It's an independent organ which deals with the rights and the welfare of children, and it's established in 2001 based on the African Charter on Rights and Welfare of Children. And I'm sure that all of the documents that we are talking about are a bit high level, and we are currently working on making sure that we have these documents that be available in child-friendly version, where everyone can read it and understand the essence of the legal documents that we have on hand. And AU is the acronym for African Union that we use. And going through the presentation, I will be discussing African Union Peace and Security Council, which is an organ that work under the IAU that really gives big decisions on issues related on different issues related that appear in the continent. And also we have the newly formed African Union Political Affairs Peace and Security Department, which is a key stakeholder on this issue. And we have the wording CAC, which the technical persons we usually use. It means children affected by armed conflict, and SSD is the acronym for Safe School Declaration, and we usually say Save the Children, or SCI. So my presentation overall deals with the vision, and her Honorable Commissioner Sarah has eloquently put it, the vision of AU when it comes to children. And also I'll try to unpack some of the attacks on education that are happening on the continent, and try to address some of the roles that the AU has played. And I will try to mention some policy achievements that have been put forward by AU. So just to start, the overall vision of AU is to make sure that we have the prosperous and peaceful Africa, which is driven and managed by its own citizens and representing dynamic force in international arena. This definition also encompasses building an Africa that is peaceful and safe for children. And also it also details the need to have a protected education. And also in the charter that I have mentioned before, especially the Article 11 on the African Charter on Rights and Welfare of Children. On the Article 11, it clearly discussed the Aspiration 6, which deals with the children, which states that every children should benefit from education that is more quality. So the unpacking of the attacks on education, as you all know, when you talk about attacks on education, it does not really mean the physical attack only. It has also some psychological impact on the students, on the teachers, and the education support staff. And so the name itself, the attacks on education, does not really simply express the physical attack itself or the occupation of schools. It also deals with the psychological trait that it can pose on children, students, teachers, academics, and education support. So the attacks on education can happen in many forms. For instance, it can start with blocking students from accessing their schools, and also deliberately or indiscriminately killing, maiming, and traumatizing students, education staffs, and also destroying and damaging schools and universities. So the attack on education can result in many psychological and physical harm. So the killing and injuring is the first one. The second one is the dropouts. If an education is attacked, no one will be willing to go to the school. And also if education is attacked, the learning process will be deterred. So the dropout level will be high, and the loss of teachers is also the other result that we see, which is education staffs and teachers will be forced to flee the area where the education is being under attack. So we will lose teachers, or also the loss of teachers is one of forms of the attacks on education. And the extended closure of schools and universities that we see in the continent is one of the result in the attack of education, and also diminished quality of education is the other. And the other one, we especially that is seen in Africa, is the conscription of children in terrorist groups and the sexual abuse when the attacks of education happens. So this all will create a fear in children and their families. So no, everyone will be fearful of attending schools, and this will disrupt the normal learning process as whole. Attacks on education, just to give you numbers on the attacks on education that's happening in the continent. So our continent is the main continent in the globe, which have seen a lot of attacks on education, especially in the last 5 years. We have seen an increase in attacks. Just to give you the numbers here, since 2019, there have been more than 900 schools that have been closed, and more than 150,000 students were forcibly displaced in Mali and Burkina Faso. These are only two countries that the data states here. But also, in the next slide, I will try to show you the overall trend of the attacks on education. This data is mainly from the Global Coalition on Protection of Education, which carries out research and also records any attacks that are happening in the globe as a whole. So just to see the number of attacks going on in the continent, as you can see, almost in every region, on every corner of the continent, there are attacks on education, and children and young people and adolescents are forced to drop out of school. And the attacks on education has also increased during the COVID case in the last 2 years. So the attacks has not stopped, and the protection of education is an important and a vital part in ensuring that children and adolescents continue their education in the continent. So mainly the reason for attacking or targeting schools emanates from different causes, but just to mention some of them relate with the militants or extreme groups that are seen in the continent, and also on the ongoing prolonged conflict that we see in the continent is one of the reasons that we see an increase in education. And also the numbers of attacks that are being propagated is not only done by non-state actors, also state and non-state actors take part in carrying out this attack on education. So, for instance, civilians across the Central Sahel have endured attacks on education for the past 2 years. So, this ongoing attack on education calls for overall protection of education, and as the previous speakers have addressed, the Safe Schools Declaration is one of the soft laws that we use to make sure that states get into accountability or get into political commitment where they make sure that education is protected, and also they try to work with non-state actors if possible in order to make sure that education is protected even during conflict. So these are some of the resolutions and some of the ways that we are trying to address the issue of protection of education. And today, as the webinar is also named, we will be dealing with the Safe School Declaration, and Alex, my colleague, has gone in detail about the Safe School Declaration, so I'm not going through that, but I will try to share some of the laws that we have available, and our office is currently working with our partners to have the African Charter on Rights and Welfare of Children be transferred to a child-friendly version. So once we have completed that, we'll be sharing it with everyone here. So the policy achievements. So when it comes to the AU, once a national the member state has endorsed the Safe School Declaration, our office will work closely with that member state through different means. So just to give an understanding of what we do here is we try to work with member states through the AU, and as Commissioner Sarah has highlighted early, we work through the member states through the Peace Education Cluster, which we coordinate with other partners, and also we work with Peace Security Council in order to make sure that policy decisions reflect what's really going on the ground, and also we try to link the policy and what's going on the ground to the decisions that are being given by the Peace and Security Council. And just in the past 5 years, more than 6 decisions specifically on decisions on safe schools have been publicized by the Peace and Security Council, and it's a good policy achievement. And currently we are working towards the implementation of these policies, and also ensuring that the implementation on the ground links up with the overall big achievement that we are seeing at the AU level. So currently, the other way we are working through is the member states, as I said, and we have currently the African Platform on CAC, which comprises of composed of more than 5 member states ambassadors who are seated in Addis Ababa, and also we have partners and international organizations who are part of this platform, which is working towards to ensure to link up the policy and the implementation on the ground level. And next year we are also planning to start a kind of missions to the countries that we see education being attacked, and we want to start the conversation with the higher level policymakers, and also with children, adolescents, and also technicians on the ground, so that we can link up the policy making at the higher level and also what's going on the ground. So this is a bit of what I can talk about on the overall policy work that we are doing, and some of the work that AU has been doing with us. So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask. Thank you. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you so much, Sion, for that, and just giving us an overview of the Safe School Declaration. And as we sorry,
the policy work at the AU
and
level.
the policy work at the AU level, and what is being done there at the AU level. So the next person is we are going to break into we're going to, hello, I can't. Can you hear me? Sion?
Yes, I can hear you, Jane. I think you're muted, Jane.
Eh, eh. PNG. Na any a designer is able to use any, akitaka hata anaweza iconvert yeye mwenyewe. Yeah.
Sorry, Jane.
Yeah. Okay. Waambie mbona, kwa sababu mi hawajaniitisha vector, we waambie we have PNG. Waambie tu hivyo. Sasa nitakusaidia aje? Na Daniel. Sawa. Sawa, sawa. Okay. Okay. Wacha nimpigie. Okay. Wacha nimpigie. Haya.
How do we make sure that education is safe during those moments? Sion, are you going to try to respond to that?
Between PNG and vector.
Sion?
Which one is I?
Yes, Jane, I can hear you, but you sound so far, and I was not able to hear what you have said. Can you please repeat?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but your sound is a bit far.
My sound is a bit far.
Maybe can you adjust your microphone?
No, okay, sorry, I had not switched on my microphone. Sorry, I was using Alex's microphone. So I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I confirm I can hear you now. Yeah.
So how do you plan to protect and save education in political crisis moments? That is the question.
It's a very good question. Just to start with the question, thank you for forwarding that question.
You can start and then Alex can come and respond to it.
Yes,
yeah.
Alex can also support me on answering that. So at the policy level, what we do is we try to do a bilateral conversation with member states which are under conflict in the continent, which are in active conflict in the continent. So I forgot to mention it early. We have now around 29 member states who have endorsed the SSD, the Safe School Declaration. So we still have a long way to go. So what we do here is we try to make sure that if that state has not yet endorsed the SSD, we try to start the conversation here at the AU level and have the ambassador be aware of what the SSD is and how the laying out the mechanism under the SSD can support the continuation of education even during conflict. So that's what we do, and also we try to do a kind of fact-finding mission through that work. The committee, we support the committee in conducting those kind of fact-finding missions to go on the ground and have conversation with the stakeholders to really know what's going on. And also the element of protection of education is also included in the field mission visits that the special rapporteur will be conducting. So that report will come back to the AU and will be reported back to the member states. So that way, a kind of peer pressure is that's what you say, it's in policy and advocacy. So what we try to do with that, but still it's not easy. And this is what we can do from the policy, from the AU level. But maybe Alex can also support me on the technical support that Save the Children provides for member states. to ensure education is protected. Proceed, Alex.
Okay, so just to add on what Sion has said, so on the ground or at the community level or at the national level, so some of the tactics or things that we can do is, for instance, it's working with the civil society. If at national level, the CSOs can access the data on the attacks on education, then we can use that data to develop some advocacy. We can use them for advocacy. For instance, when we are doing a press release, we can ensure that we have put that, the number of children who have been affected, the number of girls who will not go back to school because of this. We can also use this information for private advocacy and lobbying, either with the government or the military, to just bring this to light. We can also push for them to ensure that when it comes to wartime or conflict, that they're making sure that they are abiding by the principles under the Safe Schools Declaration guidelines, whereby schools are out of bounds in terms of attacks, that children going to school, they should not be attacked or frisked. Let's say girls are walking to school and we are having a male soldier who is the one frisking them before they go to school. So just making sure that the military are well trained, and they understand how to enforce these guidelines and even how to work with children or the youth. Then also when it comes to armed non-state actors who are also considered as perpetrators, of course, then there is, depending on the context of the country, we have some countries who have gone a step further in, who have held negotiations with these actors, and they have even signed like, not a peace accord, but some sort of agreement whereby even the armed non-state actors have said that they will not attack schools, they will not occupy schools, they will not forcibly recruit children, they'll not recruit children into these armed groups. So using different tactics during the time of conflict to make sure that children continue accessing the education and they're still able to go to school. And I've said this is very context specific. Not in all countries where you can negotiate with non-armed state actors, but for countries who have made milestones on that, then they can do that. We've seen countries like Kenya who we've had schools being tear gassed or students being tear gassed for fighting for their field where they play football and that kind of thing. We can say Kenya is not a country in conflict, but still we are seeing incidences where education is being attacked, and the civil society came out very strongly to condemn those attacks and also say that police are not allowed to throw tear gas or use live bullets to disperse a crowd of students who are rightfully asking that their land should not be taken away, because this is their safe space for playing and enjoying as students. And when it comes to community level, I think I'm preempting the following question that I had already read. When it comes to involving the community, as Save the Children, we have made efforts through some of our conflict sensitive approaches, programs, to make sure that we have also sensitized the community to understand what is this Safe Schools Declaration? How can they be involved to make sure that the children are able to go to school safely? What role can they play as a community? Engaging religious leaders and community leaders to understand what is enshrined in this declaration, and also what their role can be, because the community play a very key role as well in supporting the efforts at community level towards ensuring that children are better protected, and for this case, that they are able to access their education and go to school.
Thank you so much. I can see everybody has decided to post their questions right now. So I want to see if there are questions that we can be able to do this. Can you please clarify where politics attack education? Where politics attack education?
I think maybe one example I could share is, for example, when a country is in an elections year, for example, and political parties are wrangling or having fights, or they're holding political rallies, either during school days or at a school, near a school compound, and then if chaos erupts, then we have maybe police trying to disperse the crowd, or through using tear gas or bullets, whether live or not. That can be an example of it. Sometimes we've seen instances in certain countries whereby even people, even like head teachers or the board of the school, if they are aligned or affiliated to a certain political party, and then this can sometimes spill over into the school compound. So, for example, they might be having a parade, like on Monday, they're having a school parade, and maybe a remark is made, and the students will be like heckling and all that, and then a demonstration can ensue. Children can be injured. There could be a stampede. So those are some of the subtle ways in which we can say, like, this is politically, can be politically construed. Even when it comes to when we are pushing or lobbying with the ministry, the different line ministries towards allocating certain budgets to education or rehabilitation of schools. And because a political leader or leaders are not, this does not align to their party manifesto or whatever, and then we see that at the end of the day, the children are the ones who are suffering in these communities. If the government is not able to make sure that children from rural communities or hard to reach areas are accessing education facilities, they have teachers, they have the school material that they need, like books and exercise books. If we are talking about doing education using these virtual modes, then are we really reaching the hard to reach areas and the most marginalized communities? So these are some of the subtle ways in which we can say.
Okay, there's another question. I don't know if you can be able to read. Can you be able to read that?
No, I can't read.
So how can teachers be protected by the declaration? And this is something I've had over. Yesterday I had a meeting with teachers, and they say sometimes we focus on protecting children so much, you forget their teachers who in the line of duty, they are being attacked. You know, they are being attacked for being teachers, not because of their person or their adults, but because they are teachers and they are providing education to these young people, they get attacked. So it's poverty, I think it's poor teacher welfare and poor schools infrastructure also attached to education. So the correlation between education, children, teachers, and infrastructure. So how do we protect, does this declaration also protect teachers who are protecting children or are teaching these children?
So teachers and staff of education facilities, that includes schools, higher institutions of learning, they are already protected as per the Safe Schools Declaration. It is clearly outlined that students, teachers, and staff of these education facilities, that they are not supposed to be attacked or threatened by virtue of doing their job, being teachers or serving in these education institutions. So they are already protected. So when the government signs this declaration, it is also committing to ensure that these teachers are protected. But as the question has been put, there are instances where teachers, we have seen they are being attacked in certain communities when there are fights, or sometimes they are abducted. So it is upon the government to make sure that even in these communities or in conflict situations or contexts, that it's not only students who are protected, but also teachers and those who serve in these institutions. The issue of schools that have been attacked, in order to ensure that these spaces are places that children can go back to school, the schools need to be rehabilitated. And that is why as various stakeholders, through their programs, some of them work towards the rehabilitation of schools. And this rehabilitation, when this is happening through when a program is being implemented, then it means that we are calling upon the parties to conflict to ensure that these schools are out of bounds. So whether it's calling for the Ministry of Defense or the head of military to put a decree that these schools need to stop being occupied, they should no longer be attacked, like the military should not occupy certain areas, then this goes towards making sure that there's the institutions or schools that had been previously attacked, that they can be rehabilitated and children can go back to school.
Thank you so much, Alex. I think we have covered most of the questions. Yes, I've seen a question about strikes, but I don't know if striking the same for safe school declaration. Is it covered?
What's the question?
So in Uganda, strikes by teachers and lecturers are common language, especially on the issue of salaries. And there are so many strikes over issues of tuition, increment in university in Uganda. Can this be termed as political?
That's I don't want to give a view on that, because then that goes into politics. But just to say, on the Safe School Declaration, basically, it is enforced to ensure that children do not miss out to continue with their education during conflict time.
Okay.
It's specific to during conflict, but also it has gone further ahead when it gives the different categories of attacks on education. We find that even countries that are not in conflict, they could have cases of education being attacked, like I explained in our country, Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one, I think, I don't want to go giving an opinion towards it, because then it becomes a political question, in my view.
Thank you so much. I think, okay, there's a hand up. So Ifyenye, I'm so sorry about that name. I'm hoping I pronounce it well. I think you have an opinion about that question, Ifyenye.
Yeah.
Yes,
You need
exactly.
to unmute yourself.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I just wanted to, contribute to what my dear friend has been saying. And this is where the youth comes in. Because when you talk about safe school declaration, it is channeled to one thing: protection of education. And when you protect education, you protect everything surrounding education, starting from the influence of climate change on education. Why are teachers on strike? What are the problems affecting the people that are facilitating this educational progress? So that is why the youth is very important in this, because we get to drag out the different sectors that affect and make schools vulnerable to attacks. And when you look at it, you realize that when education is totally on attack, it affects all sectors, both economic sector. So looking at Safe School Declaration, it is not just problems related to fire violence, but it is also touching places that make schools vulnerable, like teachers on strike, like climate change, and political, maneuvers, using schools for election polls and all that. So it is very important for us to know that it is not just dealing with straight attack on it, but indirect and direct policies that make schools vulnerable to attack. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Etienne. Thank you so much, Ifeanyi, for that. Yes, and I know I'm talking about definition of safe school. It's your definition, and we think we're going to include it in the communique. Your your understanding of safe school. Thank you so much. Yes, Alex wants to add something.
Let me just add something that even things that violate child rights, they can be considered as attacks on education. So what he's talking about, for example, if it's what you're talking about, corporal punishment, bullying, though it is not in the declaration, it's not defined in the declaration, but it's an attack on children's rights. So then it also becomes, you're attacking the education. If anything is going to hinder the child from safely accessing the education or their right to an education or to be in school, it's an attack on education.
Thank you so much. I think now we need to go to group work so that all these amazing ideas, we can discuss them and package them. So there'll be two groups. There's one group that is going to remain in this meeting, this current meeting, that's group one. Let me just project the meeting, oops, sorry. I hope I'm still, can you hear me? So there'll be two groups. Group one is going to be discussing issues to do with, just give me a second, I move to groups. So group one, you're going to be talking about this, you're going to be talking about youth consultation. Why is education important? How exciting to children? What makes them feel safe at school? Give examples. And what makes them feel unsafe? So that is group one. And then there will be group two. So group two will be taking why is safe school declaration important and how has it changed children and young people's lives, and what will the children like to tell their government leaders about their situation, and what should the people who hold the power in their country do to protect them. So I am going to share a link for everybody who is interested in joining group two. Please follow the link in the chat. And Alex is there waiting for you in group two. So that is group two that is going to talk about, I'm going to project it again, but let me just share the link. So you're going to leave this meeting and go to that meeting. So, and that in that meeting, you're going to be discussing about those two questions. And then after 40 minutes or so, we are going to come back to this meeting and have a plenary and discuss this further. So for those ones who are going to remain here, I'm going to upgrade everybody and we are going to have a conversation. So for group one, let me project again. Group one, you're going to be discussing, those are the questions for group one. Group one is going to be discussing, but group two, please follow the link in the chat box and join another. So you leave this meeting and join the group in the chat box. And I'm going to give us 4 minutes. Okay. How long will they take? Because it's already 20 past. We don't have time, please. If you're joining group two, please start leaving and joining the other group. I can see people are still relaxed here. Alex is waiting for you. Alex is waiting for you in group two. The link is in the chat. Or everybody wants to stay here. You don't want to stay with Alex. Yes, I can see people are still joining the other group. Yeah. Please. We have two people. Now we need. Thank you. So the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat for group 2. The link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Alex is waiting for you. The link is in the chat for group 2. So let me project group 2 again.
me to end this function officially and also beg to invite the Charter Simpson. Brother, you're most welcome. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
I am remaining with group 1. So I'm remaining with group 1. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'm upgrading everybody else so we can have a discussion. So I'm upgrading everybody else who has remained here. So we are going, Ifeanyi, are you able to chair as a young person?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, should I start?
Ifeanyi?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead and share.
Okay. I hope everyone can hear me. Yes. Thank you for sharing the screen. So now let's start. I hope everyone can hear me clearly before I continue. I don't know. I'm not receiving any response. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, Ifeanyi.
All right, great. Okay, so let's start with why is education important and or exciting? So why are we talking about education? Why is it a necessity? So as the person sharing this, I will start with my own opinion on why education is important, and I'll open the floor to every single one to please put in their contributions. What do you think? Why do you think education is important? Why do you think it's necessary? Remember, in every given society, in every given nation, without education, my dear friends, without education, there is no progress, there is no development, there is no transition. There won't even be a life because nobody will invent anything. Nobody will learn how to speak. Nobody will learn how to talk. Nobody will even learn how to dress themselves up. So education is a very important tool because it deals with knowledge, it deals with progress, it deals with development. So stating this out have shown you how important education is to us, to life. And I would like to hear from every single one in this room. Please tell me, what do you think? Why do you think education is important? You can unmute your microphone to speak, okay? Tell us why you think education is important. Okay, I see some comments.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, go on, go on.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Your microphone is technical issue. Hello, Emmanuel. We can't hear you properly. You have network issues. Emmanuel, we can't hear you. Emmanuel, we can't hear you. Can you kindly use the chat box? Hello, Emmanuel, we can't hear you. Can you use the chat box, please? Can you use the chat box? We can't hear you. Please, any other person that would like to discuss or tell us why education is important? Why are we talking about education? It is a very good thing that we all understand why we are even here. Hello, Emmanuel. We can't hear you.
hearing me clearly?
Sorry, Manuel, I can't hear you. You are interrupting.
Emmanuel, your network is low. I think that's why. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you. Okay, so the floor is open to another person. Emmanuel, you can just chat in the chat box what you have to say, okay? We'll get your recommendations because it's very important. So we're opening to another person to please tell us why we are here. Why do you think education is important? What are the benefits of education?
Maybe you can get off his video, like. Yeah.
Okay, would you like to contribute? The person that just spoke now. Okay, Richie.
Richie, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Of course. So I thank you everyone, and good afternoon. I'm very happy to join this meeting. So the thing that I want to say is just to share with everybody on the crisis moment. We have not maybe how can we call it? We have not the decision or the pact to accept for all of stakeholder or all of the people who use this moment as the fight. Sorry for my English, but I want to say we should protect the area where we find the school. Even we are on the crisis, even we are on the war, we should accept to protect this area. Then we can have the opportunity to don't lose the investment that we made for this to build this school, to build this area like a school. If I can explain, because I saw we have in francophone interpreter, I can say it in French. It will be very clear. So, j'étais en train de dire ceci. Il est très important de protéger les espaces prévus pour la scolarité, pour l'éducation des enfants, notamment les écoles, même quand nous sommes en temps de guerre ou au moment de crise. Il faut qu'on ait un pacte pour tous les protagonistes qui combattent. Il faut qu'on prenne en compte, peut-être dans la déclaration, cette logique de protéger les milieux scolaires. Je ne suis pas en train de dire qu'il doit avoir la continuité des cours pendant la guerre, parce qu'il faut aussi protéger la vie des étudiants et des enseignants. Mais je suis en train de parler de protéger les milieux. À l'instar d'un exemple, vous connaissez le drapeau blanc, même en temps de guerre, même quand vous êtes des ennemis, lorsque vous levez le drapeau blanc, il y a comme cesser le feu. Donc, lorsque l'un des groupes, l'un des protagonistes atteint le milieu où se trouve l'école, de grâce, faisons une promotion pour ne pas détruire les écoles. Donc, je ne sais pas si vous comprenez vraiment un peu, c'est cette idée que je voulais partager avec tout le monde pour comprendre cette logique. Merci.
Thank you so much, Richie. Thank you so much for that amazing comment. Regardless of any language we speak, we feel your passion, which is why we are here. And why I needed someone else to talk about why education is important, to understand that all of us are in the same era, in the same knowledge base. Education can never be underestimated. It is very, very important. And that is why terrorists use attack on education as an advantage, because they want people to keep remaining in the backward nature of life. They don't really want us to develop. That is why they attack education. But it is our responsibility to say no to that. And I'm happy that you all are participating in this miraculous and exciting consultation, which we're going to move to the conference arena to declare what we really want to see. So after stating the importance of education, I don't know, I feel like we should also give one person one more room to tell us what they think about why education is important. Let me just call on someone. If I call on you, just speak, okay? Don't be scared.
Hello, good day, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me clearly now?
Speak your heart, speak why you are here. Tell us the
Hello.
situation to know that the youths are ready for change. I would like to call on Maryline in Joroge. Maryline, I don't know if you.
I think Emmanuel is back.
Okay. Hello,
Emmanuel,
Emmanuel.
go ahead.
Hello,
Yes,
good day,
Emmanuel.
everyone.
Yes, Emmanuel, go ahead.
All protocols duly observed. I'm Emmanuel from Nigeria. I think with all being said, education is not only important because it's very important sphere because according to UNESCO, there is a say that for every level of education a child attains, it reduces
Emmanuel,
its
we
poverty.
can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Emmanuel, we do.
Education is very important because
We can't hear you.
Mr. Chairman, why are you not hearing me? The rest people are hearing me. Maybe it's your network from your end.
Okay, Emmanuel,
Hello.
work on your network. Let us move to Maryline.
If any, we can hear Emmanuel very clearly.
They can hear me clearly, but you can't hear me clearly, Mr. Chairman. It's from your own end. The network issue is from your own end, sir. You see, education is very important because
Ifani, maybe you can off your
according to
radio.
UNESCO's report, I don't have radio here. I'm just alone in my room. And I think I'm very audible here. Okay, education is very important because, yes, I am on it. Education is very important because according to UNESCO's report, for every level of education that a child attains, it reduces his chances of being poor by 10%, which means education also eradicates poverty. And you all believe me that this rate of increase in crime is caused as a result of poverty and illiteracy. You see, education itself reduces poverty and hence it reduces the rate of crime being committed. With education, you see, countries that are highly educated, their rate of poverty is very, very low and minimal. And also the rate of crime that they face is very, very minimal and almost up to zero level. What it means is that if the education, the education sector is made safe and every child could attain level of education, it means that our society and Africa at large will be a safe place. It will minimize poverty, which means that goal of zero poverty by SDG Act will be attained. And not only that, it means it will improve the standard of living and hence also improve the environment and everybody at large. So that's why you see the education sector itself should not be played with or should be joked with. And that is why I love this program, Save Child, and also Save the Schools declaration, because it will go a long way in not only reducing the crime rate in Africa, especially in my country, Nigeria. It will also go a long way in improving the standard of living of the people and also eradicating poverty, which is what is happening now. I will use my country as a case study, which is presently declared as the poverty headquarter and illiteracy headquarter of the world. With this declaration, which I'm very happy that our country is signing and taking up, with this declaration, and if it is implemented, I believe it will take my country and Africa to the next level. And that is why education is extremely important and should be placed at number one, because with education, poverty will be reduced, standard of living will be increased, crime rate will reduce, and everything will fall back to normal. Thank you very much, and God bless you all for listening.
That was amazing, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for that inspiring speech you just made.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
People like you are the reasons why we are here, because we want to get youths elevated. And whenever youths are pushing for something, it normally happens. Because when we are angry, when we are frustrated about the same conditions we have been, we get things changed. And that is why we ask our question. why is education important? So now let us move to the second question, which goes to what makes them feel safe at school. Give example. So now, what are the things that we should think about, we should brainstorm about on what makes children, youths, even adults that are still schooling, what makes them feel safe? I will start by my own thoughts. When I come into an environment and I have peace of mind to learn, I see that my infrastructure system is okay. I see that I have a desk. I see that I have a board. I even see that I have good teachers. It makes me feel that my school is safe. Infrastructure is a very important tool in making school feel safe for students. I would like to leave the floor to someone to please tell us, suggest to us, give us that we need to be fed with your opinions. Talk to us. Tell us why you think, what and what you feel that you need to see for a school to be safe. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, good day. I would like to say what I think. You see, apart from infrastructure, what makes a school safe for learning is teachers' welfare. That cannot be undermined. You don't expect a teacher that is hungry, for instance, to teach very well, effectively, and efficiently on an hungry stomach. And if you look at this part of the world, it is only the part of the world that doesn't take teachers' welfare very serious. Because can you imagine? I will use some part of this my country as a case study, whereby you see 11 months state government don't pay teachers, 12 months, and they expect them to teach effectively and efficiently. It's not good. Another a very important sector, you cannot take away school or education. When you mention education, the first thing that comes to your mind, it is the teachers' welfare, and also before you talk about the student and children, because when these teachers have good welfare, they come in happy, teach the children well the way it's supposed to be. So another thing that makes the school safe, a safe place for education, is the teachers' welfare, which is of paramount importance. Thank you all.
Thank you so much again, Emmanuel, for your inspiring response. Now we have noted it down. Teachers' welfare, because when a teacher is happy, the child will be happy.
Yes, if I know.
Okay. Yes, someone else wants to say something. Please go on.
Thank you. I want to give my opinion about. Yes, I agree with Emmanuel. So for the rest, let me continue in French to be very clear. J'étais en train de dire que au bout, j'étais un peu dans la première question, l'idée était plus globale. Mais ici, ce qu'on doit savoir, il y a donc l'infrastructure. Voilà pourquoi je suis en train de dire que j'étais d'accord avec, avec Emmanuel. Il est vraiment question que les infrastructures qui sont construites pour les écoles soient des infrastructures qui protègent la vie et des enseignants et des élèves. Mais au-delà de ça, il y a ce que Emmanuel a dit, je ne reviens pas sur le bien-être des enseignants. Mais je vais prendre la portée aussi des programmes. Parce que la protection va du fait que l'enfant qui doit avoir un peu son état de santé psychologique normal, il ne faudrait pas qu'il soit surchargé. C'est-à-dire qu'il faut que les programmes soient délimités dans le temps, mais aussi au niveau des enseignants, qu'il y ait un contrôle, le contrôle contre certaines violences. Parce qu'il est possible, même si les enseignants sont en bonne santé ou ils ont le bien-être, mais s'il y a des violences, il y a des violences verbales. Il faut qu'il y ait un contrôle régulier de la part des responsables scolaires vis-à-vis des enfants. Cela peut se passer, pour donner un exemple, par des entretiens individuels avec les élèves pour essayer de les mettre dans un climat de confiance. Parce que souvent, il arrive qu'il y a donc le harcèlement venant des professeurs, il y a le harcèlement venant des collègues de classe. Si on peut avoir une portée, au moins peut-être avoir un psychologue scolaire dans chaque établissement, ça sera bien. C'est vrai que ça va faire appel à des ressources humaines importantes, mais cela pourrait faciliter à ce qu'on écoute les enfants et qu'ils se sentent épanouis, parce que l'école est faite pour épanouir les enfants et leur permettre de grandir en sérénité. Donc, ce que je souligne dans cette approche, c'est vraiment surtout le contrôle individuel de chaque élève qui doit avoir un entretien avec les responsables scolaires. Ça peut se passer une fois le mois, peut-être aussi une fois tous les 2 mois. L'idée est de discuter en individualité avec l'élève, lui poser des questions, qu'est-ce qui ne va pas, qu'est-ce qui va bien. Et j'insiste sur l'infrastructure et le bien-être des enseignants, comme l'a dit Emmanuel. Merci.
Thank you so much, Richie. That was a very, very thoughtful thing that you told us. What I was able to grab is where you told us about the teachers' participation, which means that the teachers are very great tool in actualizing this safe school declaration. The teachers need to pass through sensitization, and not sensitization on the note of violence preparedness programs. They need to be able to inculcate to the students how safe a school can be. And they need to give the students peace of mind. So thank you very much for that teacher's participation note, and it has been noted down, and trust me, we will be meeting regularly. This campaign is kicking off after this webinar. We want to be going around to have teacher engagements at the grassroots level to make sure that they understand what we are talking about. Safe school declaration. Their participation, their voice is also needed. We need to consult with them to know what they also think about the safe school declaration, because they better meet with the students at the grassroots level. I will also open the floor to one other person to talk about the things you need to see in order for you to be satisfied that that school is safe. Please, somebody else to speak from, somebody that we have not heard from. I need a new voice, please. Any new voice? I'm seeing a lot of panelists. Can any panelist unmute, or maybe line, Jorogu? Like, can we get somebody else to contribute to this discussion? Somebody, anybody, before we move to the next question. Anybody?
Richie, Emmanuel.
Oh yes, Emmanuel and Richie have made a contribution.
And this panelist, I don't know who these guys are not speaking to us.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of panelists here. A lot of panelists, even
Akaba.
Okay, it's okay, Maryline, Joruk. I'm seeing only Maryline. Maryline, can you talk to us? Even if it's to say
Maryline is an adult, so I think she doesn't want to speak because she's an adult. But I've seen Richie unmuted. Richie?
Richie has spoken to us.
Oh, Richie has... Oh.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Richie is a very
so are we to the new tips? The third I was talking.
Okay, Richie is already spoken. Emmanuel?
Yes, I'm with you guys.
Yes, Emmanuel.
Okay. Any contribution?
Contributions on ways to make education better. Hello?
No, Emmanuel, we have gotten your contributions on the, yes, what makes schools safe. You talked about okay. Yes.
All right.
Thank you on that. Yes.
Thank you.
Then I think nobody else wants to talk. Let's move to the next question. Please, can it be projected to the screen? Thank you. So we have the last question, which goes to what makes them feel unsafe at school. So this is the opposite of what we have seen. Mine is just the environment. The environment of the school matters a lot. If your environment is even when an adult goes there and be like, wow, is school located at this deserted area, why would you be vulnerable to attacks? So environment of educational facilities should be considered, should be need to ensure that we have proper environment for our schools to be able to rehabilitate into the human process of learning. So I would like to also open the floor. Please, we need more discussion for speakers. We need to hear different diverse opinions of this. It is a very important issue, and we the youth want to get enough information to be able to fight back. So when we're fighting, we know we're fighting for a good cause. So please, someone else can open up the floor before I go to Emmanuel and Richie. I know that Emmanuel and Richie will contribute to this. So can someone else open the floor? Someone else, please. The panelists are saying we are up to 17 in this consultation, and we only have 2 people speaking. If someone wants to talk to us, you mustn't be a youth to answer this question. You can just answer the question from your own opinion, because it will help in building up a manifesto, which can be presented to all leaders. So please, somebody else, anybody.
Mr. Chairman, since no one is talking, can I put in words? You see, to me, apart from welfare, our schools in Africa need to be digitized. Digitized in the sense that, you see, when you go to developed parts of the world apart from Africa, you see they use digital tools in terms of pickup. You understand? A school that is digitized can actually check the security of the children, because this issue of, especially I'll use my country as a case study where students are being kidnapped and teachers are being kidnapped. You see, with the use of digital app for pickup, whereby when a parent comes before he can pick up his or her child, he has to notify the school via the app that he is coming to pick up, and until when he's cleared via the app and accepted, that's when he can be able to have access to the child. And so by so doing, they will get to know, the school management and the staffs of the school will get to know that actually social parents, and they will be sure that social parent came to pick up this child, not another person else in disguise of the parents. So the issue of we primary schools, secondary schools in Nigeria and Africa not being digitized is another key issue. You see, with fully digitized schools where we have apps like Lightgate Educational that can be used to do that, even from the comfort of the children's home, they will feel very happy. They can be taught from the comfort of their homes, apart from the in terms of security, for them to be sure that these students are secure in terms of pickup. From the comfort of their homes, they can be taught from at the comfort of their homes, and their parents will have access to what to see their materials, their study materials, whatever goes on in the school, print their result and whatever. So I think it is high time Africa should go for the movement to digitize all primary, nursery, primary, and secondary schools in Africa, so as to ensure security in terms of pickup, and also to ensure learning can be done from anywhere by any child, even from home, the comfort of his home. For those that cannot meet up in classroom for physical appearance, they can teach them from home, take their attendance, ensure that they're in school, all these things. So digitalization of school is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Emmanuel, for this inspiring response of yours. And you have taken us back to the DOTTS framework, where we want to have digitalization included in every aspect of our education. Because I believe a smart school is a protected school. When the school is properly swimming in artificial intelligence, no military or no armed conflict personnel can penetrate the school without being detected. They will definitely be detected by the artificial intelligence present. So digitalization to educational systems is a very, very important tool. And we thank you so much for giving us that inspirational comment.
Yeah, I would.
Go on.
Yoda? Yeah.
Yes, go on.
Yes, I want just I would like just to add something. So in the few things that I would to add, we should know and get the school must protect the children from all form of violence, whether it's come from within or without the school. That is, we should ensure for our children, because on the school, the violences can be like harassment between the two students. It can be, or the outside, some people can come to kidnap or to make in danger the life of the children. That I was talking. This is the simple thing that we should promote, and we should make advocacy for this, because people should be protected anytime where they are on the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we need to wrap up, and we see who is going to present for our group in the plenary.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Richie, for that amazing response. So what I've grabbed from what you just said is making sure that schools have tighter policies on harassment. They shouldn't tolerate any form of harassment. From there, they will be able to ensure that their students are safe. And schools that have no measures for harassment or sexual violence should totally be punished. And I am glad that you made that suggestion, because it will help us better guide schools on how to formulate themselves in order to ensure that the safe school declaration is promoted at all levels. So it is now time to have somebody to present to us. I don't know if anybody was taking notes, but I think I will do that since nobody else was taking notes. But if anybody is taking notes, you can please stand in for us at our repertoire, so it will be fair enough. And was anybody taking notes? Okay, I think I'll be the one to present it then. Thank you so much for this amazing consultation.
Thank you. Can you be able to do a summary of the notes that you took so that we can all be in agreement?
Okay, that's beautiful. So we had the first question where we talked about why is school important, and we had some important responses from myself, Emmanuel, and Richie, where we all stated out the fact that if education is not continuous, we have the problem of poverty, we have the problem of underdevelopment, and we have the most important problem of violence, which is the things that education helps us to stop. So it is a very important thing that education continues. Then when we will move down to the second question, where we get to ask, why are schools declared, how can schools be seen as safe? We had people talk about proper infrastructure. We also had the teachers' welfare suggested by Emmanuel, to make sure that teachers' welfare is included in any policy. And we also have the teachers' participation in safe school declaration, which makes the students feel safe. Then finally, we went on asking what makes a school not safe, which is the opposite of what makes a school safe. We have people talk about the environment. We have people talk about the lack of digitalization, and we also have people talk about the strict policies on harassment. When it is lacking in school, it makes the school less safe. So thank you very much, and I hope this will be discussed. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, I just gave this.
Go on, Richie, can hear you.
Mr. Richie, we can hear you.
Okay.
Richie? I think he's dropped off.
Yeah, sorry. I have issues with my connection, maybe. So
okay.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Thank you. I have also to add this. So I think it is not on the question that we have to work about, but it can be good for reflection. Hello? Are you there?
Go on.
with you, sir.
Hello?
Hello, we are with you. Go on.
Hello?
Yes, Richie, we can hear you. Hey, Richie, I think we lost you. Can you go to the language interpretation if that's where the problem is? you should choose the general language. You can't hear us if you are on French alone.
Okay, Richie, you were saying something that you wanted to add, and because we have over a minute over, so the other group is coming back in a few minutes. So, oh, we've lost Richie. Okay.
I want to add something, please. Sorry for the intrusion. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Go on. Yes.
You see, I don't know. I think also there is something that the counseling unit of every school should be improved. The counseling unit, because the guardian and counseling unit, they play a very important role in trying to see. I will use my place, my country. Majority of the schools in Kaduna State in Nigeria, especially private, have counseling unit. Explain how he feels or how he is being treated by a teacher or a senior student, so that he will get the proper guidance in order to set everything right. So most of these students, they don't even have a place to go and complain when they are being molested, or they don't even have people in the schools to guide them in order to avoid child molestation and the rest of them. So there should be an improvement, a proper improvement in the guidance and counseling unit. Every school, there should be a policy that mandates every school, whether private or government owned, should have a set of guidance and counseling unit for the student to go to at any time to lay their complaint or to express themselves, so that they can be properly guided, because majority of the students don't know about all those things. They don't even know what it means by child molestation, and they don't even know what was their rights, and that's what is the major problem. It's one of the major problems. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel. And this comes under the part where you say, if you see a safe school, all this are included in the safe school. So guardians and counselors can also deal with the problem of external forces, where they get to consult with outside stakeholders on the mental health of their students, on how to improve the mental health of the students, and monitor how they feel, either they feel safe or not. And this can be used to report to the global forum, and also with African Union. So thank you for putting that over. I have noted it down. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Over to you, Jennifer. You can take us to the next.
Thank you so much, Kenya, for an amazing sharing. And the other group, they're just wrapping up. I can hear them. They're just wrapping up. So, and then they can come back. But in the meantime, please, panelists, we need to know who you are. You are friends here. You've had our discussion, and you don't want to talk to us. So I'm trying to get, if we can get some music before we start, as we wait for the other group. So Kenya, you're going to do the presentation on our behalf? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
affamé par ceux qui violent. Une vidéo. Je veux entendre à nouveau la personne et le matin. Je veux passer mon sac. Je veux retourner à l'école. Comme chaque enfant, je veux rêver, voir la vie sourire à mes côtés, retrouver mes... Je veux entendre à nouveau la personne et le matin. Je veux passer mon sac au dos.
And welcome back again. Sorry. Welcome back to the and you know we had very discussion. We had to spotlight you so that everybody can see you. So I'm going to start with Ifeanyi, and please, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and please check your microphone. Ifeanyi, it's a bit low. Maybe just increase the volume on your side so we can all hear you. So go on.
Okay. So I hope everybody can hear me well now.
We can hear you.
Team member, we had amazing discuss number one first question which was asked to one is why is education important? Why are we even here? Why are we stressing our bones to be here? Our amazing panelists, our amazing group members gave us this answer, which is number one, we stated that poverty helps in education helps in poverty alleviation. So with education, you are sure that poverty is reducing to a very greater amount of time. And also education helps us in development. Without education, nations cease to develop, they cease to progress. And we have also seen that education helps us in violence containment, in handling violence and making sure that there's peace. So this shows that education is very, very important. This is but a few on why education is important. And also we now move to the second question where we get to talk about what are the things that you will say before you know that this school is safe? What are the forces? What are the things you're meant to see before you know that the school is safe? Then we unwrap with our amazing brain box. We say number one, we need to have a very clear when you come to a school system and you see that the school is properly fixed together, they have proper desks, they have children can be very comfortable in learning because they have seen that the infrastructure is there. Then the second thing we talked about the teachers' welfare. We believe that in order to see a safe school, the teachers must be comfortable and happy. When a teacher is not happy, the student is also unhappy. And that leads to attack on education because both physical attacks and mental attacks are very important to note down. Then we also talked about teachers' participation in safe school declaration, where we get to see teachers being the champions of safe school declaration also, where they get to reiterate to their students, telling them this and these are the reasons why we are talking about safe school declaration. Safe school declaration. So it is important to include teachers in making sure that the school is properly safe. And we also had the guidance and counselor unit, where we get to promote the guidance and counselor unit to upgrade the system of their consultations with students. Then when we talk about what are the things that when it is not there, a school is unsafe, we talked about digitalization. When a school lacks proper digitalization, it is very vulnerable to attack and it's very vulnerable to the reporting and mechanism systems where people can't report these attacks because they don't have the right tools to report. Then we also talked about environment. When a school is in a deserted area, it is vulnerable to attacks. And we need to take this into consideration. Schools need to be in a proper environment. Then we talked about the strict school policies on harassment, where we get to see schools upgrading their policies on student interaction, most especially on sexual violence. It makes schools feel more safe. And when these policies are not there, it makes the school vulnerable to more attacks from inside and outside. This is from Group 1. Thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
We can't hear you, Jennifer. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Jennifer. Sorry.
Apologies for that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I will say clapping clap for Ifeanyi for the amazing job. And I'll say, you know, our group, there's something that they say that is going to stay with me for a long time. Why they attack education? Because they know if they do education, they stop education. Okay, they stop education. Children will not be able to question their truth will be their truth. But when a child is educated, they're able to question some of these things that people who attack schools are doing. They'll start questioning and they're going to be remove them from poverty. So poverty is not going to be used to blackmail them. So for me, I think that's an amazing. Thank you so much, Group 1, for the amazing work. So next is Group 2. I hear you guys had a very vibrant conversation. Alex?
Yes.
So introduce your group mates.
Oh, so our Group 2, we're going to have Brian represent us and share some of the views that we captured in the group discussion. I know there would be a lot more to share, but due to the time, yes, he will speak on just some of the highlights in summary. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, good afternoon, members and fellow panelists. Yeah, hope we're doing well. Yeah, it was a very vibrant group. In fact, I just enjoyed listening. Most of the people who are vibrant were Nalala, by Loili, and Lucy, and others like Jean and the rest. Yeah. So one of the things that came up was the government awareness. Yeah, most of the people said that these laws that are in place, they're not being shared by us, the youth. We need to hear these declarations, yeah, so that we'll be able to know what needs to be done. Also, another member shared that practical solution, an effective solution. Yeah, he gave an example. For example, it's a school in Uganda that during the time there were some rebels who invaded the school, and the infrastructure is really bad, and there's nothing the government has done. So if there's this declaration, it should involve practical solution. It should involve, okay, I think someone has turned on their mic. Okay, good. I think I'm okay. There should be practical solution. Okay. Another one shared that there should be laws to prevent military guys from making children their slaves, carrying luggages and things like that. Okay. Another thing that was discussed was attack on teachers. It's unfortunately that there are some students who attack teachers because teachers are the bearers of knowledge. So we need to put laws in place to prevent teachers from attack from rowdy youth who are uncontrollable. Okay. Also, they should laws in place. For example, this thing that we're discussing, if the leaders have agreed, there should be commitment. There should be a way for us to put them accountable for what they have agreed to do. Okay. Also, we discussed about early child marriage, whereby most of these kids they're wedded earlier than before their time. So if there are laws in place to prevent this, maybe they can be inquiring, where has this kid disappeared to? And he was just like 15 years, something like that. There should be laws in place, maybe to follow up, things that maybe could hold the parents accountable, things like that. Also, something that was mentioned was maybe they should be aware that school provide food for the kids, so that to keep the kids in school, okay? In a way, they'll prevent them from, shying from coming to school. And the last thing that was lightly touched was things to deal with disabilities. Does this law cover disabilities? I don't know if I've mentioned all of them, but Alex was there with me. Maybe you can help me where I've forgotten. Back to you, Alex. Hello.
Thanks for that. Thank you for that summary, Brian. So I think two things I could add is there was also an ask on government in implementing practical solutions towards this Safe Schools Declaration. For instance, in strengthening policies, of course, as well as spearheading the reconstruction and rehabilitation of schools that had been previously attacked or destroyed during armed conflict. Then on the issue around child marriage, working with children from marginalized communities, children with disabilities, etc. With the Safe Schools Declaration guidelines, we also have some guidelines on implementing this declaration, but also from agenda lens, with a gender dimension. So I've just remembered that is one of the key resources that we can share after this meeting, so that also you can acquaint yourself with it. So we have implementing the Safe Schools Declaration with a gender lens, and also within some of the programs that we are implementing, we also ensure that we are not leaving anyone behind. So this involves children living with disabilities, children from marginalized communities or hard to reach areas, as well as children of diverse gender identities, because these are the realities on the ground. So even these children living with disabilities, in most cases, we find that these are children who were injured during conflict, when they were fleeing their villages, when they were being attacked. There's also the aspect of mental health and psychosocial support, which is also very key when we are working towards any programming aspects, or even on any targeted advocacy initiatives that we are also putting in mind, making sure that the key messages or key asks that we are developing, that they also incorporate the aspect of mental health and psychosocial support, including the aspect of disability and gender. So we have to also be very specific when we are making recommendations on those key asks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody from the group you feel Alex and Brian did not represent you? Did they present? We are.
Sorry, we can't hear you guys.
Your audio is bad, please.
So here we wanted to propose, because we mentioned that we are planning to host a global meeting with children and youth on Monday, actually next week, to bring together the voices of the youth and children in developing a global manifesto or a statement that will be read out on behalf of all children and youth from all over the world. And this statement will be read out by the children who will be participating in person at the conference. So for us to
in the global meeting next to the time, it should either be 3 p.m. East Africa time. Please allow me to confirm that, and Sion will share the timings around that. But if possible, with your consent, and if you're interested in participating in this global meeting, then we can ensure that we've captured the views of the youth as well to feed into this manifesto. It will be really great. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I hope all you guys can hear us. So we are going to start.
Sorry, we didn't hear the last thing Alex said. We lost her for a moment.
Okay. Sorry about that. So in summary, we would like to take this opportunity to have 2 or 3 representatives from this group selected to represent the youth during the global meeting that we plan to host next week on Monday, 4th of October. I will confirm the time. It should be between 3 and 4 p.m. Because we want to also make sure that we are incorporating the views and the voices of the youth. We would like to take this opportunity, since we have already had these group discussions and we have already sort of given some key asks that we would like to see included in the global manifesto. We would like to have representatives from this group, 2 or 3, to participate in this global meeting to ensure that the voices from this this session is included. And my colleague is suggesting to me whether we could do the because it might take a lot of time, whether we could do this selection later. So if people can send nominations, you can post on the chat, and then the people who will be nominated will reach out to you an email to see if you're comfortable to represent the rest of the group, because we have already run so much over time. So I hope that is clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is my microphone on? No, it's so thank you so much, Alex. I don't know if Sion is back, because I know she was lost somewhere. Sion, are you back?
Yes. Yes, I'm following the conversation.
Okay.
So, as Alex suggested, we can have those who are volunteering for the upcoming global meeting, which is scheduled for October 4 on Monday, 3 p.m. East African time or 1 p.m. Dakar time. For those who are volunteer now, they can put their name and email address on the chat box. Also, I have put here my email address if you want to email me your details before tomorrow, so that we can work on the logistics and how, and also on having you prepared for the Monday meeting. So this was the announcement that I wanted to make. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you so much, Sion. And next, we're going to call back Cleophas Maragia to come and do closing remarks and way forward what is going to happen with all these conversations that we've had today, the breakaway session and all this, what is going to happen to this information and the way forward, and also invite you for the global conference. Cleo?
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. I think it's been a very eventful and exciting afternoon for us. For those of you, some of you, I know it's been an exciting and eventful morning. In way of closing, maybe just to make a few remarks. The first thing, of course, coming from all the breakout discussions that we've had, it seems as though the young people are requesting specifically to have a better understanding of the Safe Schools Declaration. And I think this is work that as civil society organizations, we have a mandate to disseminate this declaration to make sure that children and young people are aware of what it is, what it entails, and what rights they have that they can demand from government. This is one of the only ways we are going to hold governments accountable, through knowing the content of the SSD and also making sure that children and young people who are affected by conflict and who are the primary targets of the Safe Schools Declaration know the content. A bit of an exciting takeaway for me is that the young people are pointing out that schools are not unsafe only in conflict areas. There are many other factors that are making schools not to be safe for children. And while the SSD, of course, addresses the issue of military attack and occupation, we've seen instances where schools are not safe because there is availability of weapons, for example, and students and outsiders can come into school and hold students hostage, and that country may not necessarily be undergoing a violent conflict as such. There are other things at play, various social issues within society, and I think young people are starting to realize that yes, the Safe Schools Declaration is a very good document, but more needs to be done in totality to ensure that schools are safe. So I like the discussion where we were, talking about the Safe Schools Declaration, but also identifying other aspects that are making schools unsafe, that then presents an opportunity for civil society organizations, young people, children, to engage with governments to make sure that education is delivered and for all. The other aspect that has come out, of course, is the implementation of the Safe Schools Declaration and the guidelines. It's something that we really should look at the time down to the Safe Schools Declaration and start looking at whether they're implementing or not and what the challenges are, so that we are supporting and working with government to make sure that the declaration is implemented. So for me, that represents a really good discussion. Don't do this because we have a conference next month, but if we can make this a continuous engagement with children and young people, we will foster an understanding of this both before, during, and after the conference, and also enable them to understand some of these things, because what we are in right now, it's a young person's world. It's no longer an old people's world. With technology changing, I've seen the COVID, where young people, the old people, it takes us a while to understand how to unmute ourselves and how to start our cameras and how to join breakout rooms. So young people are essentially the owners of the world as we know it now. They are no longer the people of the future. And if we keep some of this information under wraps, then we are not doing them a favor. So I would really encourage the team. I'm very grateful to the AU Youth Division, Save the Children, Total News, they together in this and going forward, I look forward to engaging much more with the young people, doing a lot more work both on the SSD, of course, and beyond that, looking at other issues, of course, affecting youth, so that we can come up with a holistic approach to make sure that we get the Africa we want, which clearly is something that is going to be driven by young people. So having said that, I would like to thank everybody else. There will be invitations. The link for registration for the upcoming conference is already up. I think, Sion, maybe you can share it in the chat box if possible, if you've not already. Please register for the workshop. If you'll not be able to attend physically, there will be online sessions, of course. And we look very, very much forward to seeing you then and continuing to engage with you long after that. So thank you very much. Asante sana, merci beaucoup. Unfortunately, I have to get out immediately, but it was really nice engaging with everyone. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Thank you so much, Cleophas, for coming and just engaging with us. And thank you. And people are still asking, where do I get? How do I get engaged, or how do I participate in the conference? So I've just reposted the link to the conference. So note, it's going to be a hybrid meeting, but here is the but, that only high-level presenters, not everybody, high-level presenters are going to be in the physical meeting. The rest of us, even those ones in Nigeria, are going to be joining virtually. Okay, so because of COVID-19, you can see even today we really wanted to have a lot of young people here, but because of COVID-19, we can only be like 2, and the rest of the people we couldn't have stayed for longer than 2 hours with a full room of people. So because of COVID-19, we know our reality currently is we cannot convene a lot of people in one room. So because of that, we are only restricting a few people, and this is a high-level presenters, not even government officials, not everybody, but high-level presenters who are going to be in the physical meeting. The rest of us are going to join in virtually. So because of that, I've just shared the link again. Please please register, and you're going to get an invitation for the meeting on Monday. I've seen a couple of questions, a couple of people saying they want to participate in the meeting on Monday. Please share your email address. I've already seen a couple. I am recording them, and you're going to get an invite for the Monday meeting. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So with that, unless Sion or Alex, we have any further thing? Nothing?
No,
Sion?
just to thank
Yes,
everyone for their time and participation.
Okay. Oh, who is speaking? Oh, Ifeanyi. Okay. Yes.
So I have something, a word tweet for my fellow youth, and I want to say this. Please let us wake up, okay? Let us start tweeting about these things. Let us start discussing about it. Let us sometimes living in entertainment and being ignorant. Let us start discussing about the matters and the issues that affect us. And I believe that we make sure we put everybody along, and I hope that the youths are ready to fight, because we're about to enter a state of emergency, and we're about to enter war, serious war on attacks on education. So I just encourage every youth here to keep this conversation going. Please go on your Twitter. You can find me there. Tag me to your post on Safe School Declaration, and we'll make sure we repost. Okay? Please keep this conversation going, and the pre-manifesto campaigns will be coming up and all that. Let this conversation keep on going, because we need to make a lot of noise on this. Thank you.
How many translations did we have? Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Richie Emmanuel.
Yes, I would like to thank everybody for being in attendance, and also the organizers of this program. And I look forward to seeing most of this every time and every day, more often, because it is high time, just as my colleague says, one of the participants, it is high time the youth have to leave the issue of social media, music, and entertainment industry to talk about things that actually affect us directly, including our society, and things that will actually bring about the development of Africa. And it is high time, I think it is high time Africa should be one of the continents that leading continents in the globe, because we have lots of talented youths, but it's just that we the youths often channel our talents and God-given gifts to social media and social vices, like in terms of music, video, and the rest of them. It is high time we channel it to things that actually matter, especially in issue of this, in the case of this education, poverty eradication, empowerment. Let's talk about problems that affect us directly. In case of, and also in terms of this unemployment rate, the increase in rate of crime, and the rest of them. I'm very grateful, and I'm very glad to be part of this meeting. And also, I look forward to most invites to attend such meetings, because I actually like volunteering work, and also like being on platforms that will affect Africa positively. And thank you all for this opportunity, and thank the organizers of this program, and thank you for bringing me up on this platform. I say God bless you, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. And that is a proper way of
Thank
ending.
Okay.
Yes, Richie.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Yes, Richie.
Yes, thank you everyone, and thank you for all our suggestions that we gave. So I would just to comment the summary that the group 2 they did. So I noticed they talk about the to rebut the school that were destroyed on all of conflict. The note that I want to say is not to note actually the way that the school are built is not guarantee often the comfort of the people or children who live with disabilities. So this way is not guarantees the comfort for these people. That's why it will be good to consider this kind of people on the construction or when we are building the school. That is the comment that I want to do to consider the children or people who with disabilities on the construction of school. And for this important meeting, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm thanking the organizers and all of people who attend this meeting. I would like to have this the kind of discussion for all and the children remain. I'm very happy, and I thank to everyone. Let's meet on next Monday for the hard meeting. Thank you. The global meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane and Alex, can I come in? This is Sion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
Okay, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm
Go
just
on, Sion.
Okay, I just want to say thank you to the African Union Youth Division. They have been very much committed to the SSCD agenda, and this activity is one of the activities that we are working with them. And I want to say thank you to Esther. I'm sure she's still here, and if she wants to say anything, I also welcome her to take the floor. And I want to say thank you to everyone, Mototo News, Alex, and all of your participants for your active participation during the webinar. This is the beginning, this is not the end, so it's just the start. We will have more similar platforms in the coming months and also years. Thank you so much. Esther, please state if you want to add anything.
Thank you so much, Sion. Thank you so much, team, for all the efforts to make this success. I would just like to thank you all for your collaboration, your partnership, and yes, and nothing else from my side.
Thank you so much again, Sion, and the AU team. We really do appreciate. And for the contribution, even participation, we want to say thank you to Honorable Sarah for coming in and giving us a very motivating keynote, and my co-moderator, Prudence. Thank you so much for the amazing job. And as we wrap up with a bang. So I'm going to ask John to put for us the song, and we can all switch on our cameras and have a small dance as we leave the meeting. And I want to see people's cameras on as we dance. Even Alex is going to stand up.
So
à l'école. Combien d'écoles fermées par ceux qui violent. Obligato non parto un carondotto. Obligato non se va la mia ricordo. Plus de route
je veux rêver, voir la vie sourire à mes côtés, retrouver mes jours de classe et dessiner mon avenir. Raiwa papatai saide ilimi, mutai makiara musuko maboko. Raiwa papatai saide ilimi, domiara sune manyangobe.
Ai faji lamburo yome, ai faji ai chero yakuro yakuna, yero hore yero juri yero kam yakuro rame. Ai faji kaino yakaka, haya sibara kala yemachu, haya sibara kala yemachu.
La personne de ma tête, je veux porter mon sac au dos, je veux retourner à l'école, je veux entendre à nouveau la personne de ma tête, je veux porter mon sac au dos, je veux retourner à l'école.
Sauver notre éducation. Aujourd'hui, plus que jamais, il faut investir dans l'éducation en urgence au Sahel et veiller à ce que la déclaration sur la sécurité dans les écoles soit mise en œuvre. Ceci est un cri de cœur, chères autorités.
Sisi muziki. Your lugha za children. Hiyo logo ya mwisho. Iko logo siko mtoke inamalizia. And you're the one actually that needs to end. I'm not the host. Yo part. Yo. And when your host.
Et à ce que la déclaration
So ahead of time.